Good morning, or depending when you're watching this, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. My name's Ross, and as always told, out of Voice of Radio. So today, we need to look at Gyarados VMAX. Yeah, that's right. Gyarados is getting a VMAX, and I rather suspect that Gyarados VMAX might end up being fairly popular. Bearing in mind a lot of the Vs and VMAXs nowadays get those beautiful special art cards. Tell me you don't want to see what the special art Gyarados looks like, I might have to call you a little bit of a liar. So we'll start off with Gyarados V here. Shout out to the lovely Antoine Boulet, who has once again provided our translations. And what we've got here is 220 HP, which is on the high end for Pokemon V, so that's good. Retreat cost of V, which is kind of annoying, and weakness to lightning, which, as I've said a couple times now, is going to be awkward, because I fully expect Flaffy to make lightning decks pretty good moving forward, so I don't want a weakness to lightning, and yeah, never mind, Boo Hiss, etc. Being a water deck, you do get to hit weakness against stuff like Victini, though, and Victini does look like it's going to be a player moving forward for quite a while. But what does it actually do? Well, for free energy, it does 20 damage for each damage counter on this Pokemon. And on the one hand, I love it, and on the other hand, I don't. See, the reason I love it is because in theory, you can do a 420 damage. If your opponent attacks and hits you for 210, then you will do basically double back. Yeah, you do 20 for each damage counter on there, so essentially you do double the amount of damage as is on you. So they do 210, you hit back and do 420, life is good. But, come on. First of all, it's an awkward attack cost, 2 water, 1 colourless. Now, we do have Frostmoth, which is lovely. We do have Melanie nowadays as well, but the problem with that one is that it only attaches 1 energy. You draw 3 cards, but Melanie only attaches 1 energy, and that for me is a little bit of a problem because this is a free energy attack. So I want to be able to get it going in one go. This also means that you are going to struggle a little bit, with a fresh Gyarados. It's just going to be hard to get this rolling. Whereas something like Frostmoth can just attach the energy and off you go. So that's kind of lovely. But again, it adds a level of awkwardness. But the other thing is, no one's going to actually hit you for 210. Like something like Victini comes in, hits you for 220, boom, 1 hit KO. Something like Zacian comes in, hits you for 230, boom, 1 hit KO. There will be games where your opponent is just shy of a KO. Where your opponent is almost in a position to get a KO, but not quite. And then they might end up not attacking because they fear the repercussions from Gyarados. And that, I think, is your best shot with an attack like this. You've got to hope that there is a time where your opponent can do like 150 damage, but I don't want to give you the chance to do 300 damage back to them. I think that's your best chance. Of course, having said that, if you don't have a Snom on the bench, your opponent can do as much damage as they like, knowing that you getting free energy on is just not happening. So a very powerful attack that could be good, but it's quite expensive and can be played around. As for the second attack, 4 energy, 180. Alright. Like, I don't think it's particularly good, but I don't think it's particularly terrible. It's fine. It's alright. It's okay. That'll do, Pig. Again, with Frostmoth, this is made significantly easier, because you can get all that energy on there in one go. And there is every chance you go second, get a Frostmoth 4 energy on here, 180. And that would be cool. But again, it's not exactly perfect. Because 180 isn't quite enough. You're not going to get the majority of Pokemon V. Now, don't get me wrong. There will be weaker Pokemon V out there, things like Crobat, on which you will get a nice KO, and that's lovely. But there are going to be far, far too many here where you're just not getting a KO. 180 is good. 180 is not spectacular. You'll get single price Pokemon. You'll get weaker Pokemon V. You won't, unfortunately, get much else. And I'm very sorry for that, ladies and gentlemen. That makes me very sad. So let's move on then and have a little bit of a look at the VMAX and see if the VMAX can change our mind, see if the VMAX can be just that little bit better. So here we go up to 330 HP, which is 10 away from the highest we've seen. It's huge. You go up to a retreat cost of 4, which is kind of annoying, but come on, what did you expect? And that same weakness to lightning. Now here we've got free energy, 120 damage, discard an energy from your opponent's active Pokemon. And I don't know how I feel about this. Because there's two parts to this, right? Firstly, the damage, the 120. 120 is fine, but 120 isn't good. I talk about the difference between 120 and 130 a lot, because there is a huge difference between 120 and 130. It is one of those lines of delineation in the Pokemon trading card game. But we see things like Urshifu VMAX does 120 to 2 Pokemon for free energy, which changes things a lot. And this is neither single nor rapid strikes. You don't have any of those tricks to accelerate energy. So Urshifu can do 120 to 2 Pokemon, and Gyarados can do 120 to 1 while getting rid of an energy. Gyarados does have Frostmoth, but then again, Urshifu has rapid strike energy. My point here is that if this is going to be a good attack, we've got to really love getting rid of the energy. And the fact is, you're discarding 1 energy. And sometimes that'll be enough. I mean, take Urshifu as an example. If they've got 1 energy on because they've just used Gale Thrust, they are a Rapid Strike energy away from using G-Max Rapid Flow. So getting rid of that energy that's already on them takes them pretty much out of the running of G-Max Rapid Flow next turn, barring some weird play. And that's good. That's going to help you. But outside of niche circumstances like that, it's 1 energy. A lot of decks nowadays are either very low energy or they're playing a bunch of energy acceleration. Maybe you start combining this with Crushing Hammer and getting some real energy denial going. And, you know, maybe it's a single strike Urshifu VMAX and you can get rid of 2 or 3 energy in one go. Yeah, that could work. But I don't know how often this is really going to work, really going to make a big difference. If it is a pivotal game where getting rid of that 1 energy is going to help, then obviously it's great. And if you can start combining it with some other energy denial, then obviously that is going to make it better. But even with Frostmoth to accelerate the energy, I'm not sure how much I love this attack. Which leaves us with one more. It's 4 energy, 240 damage. And again, this is fine, but it's not spectacular. Now, 240 will get the vast majority of Pokemon V, but having said that, it won't get all of them. Something like a Steelix coming along? You ain't getting Steelix here, ladies and gentlemen. Steelix comes in with 250 HP, and I know there's ways to do the extra 10 damage, but come on. Like, if I'm rocking up here with a 4 energy Pokemon, do I really want to then need extra stuff to get a KO on a 2-prize Pokemon V? The answer is I don't, basically. I just don't. And there are a couple other exceptions as well. So generally, you'll get most Pokemon V, but then again, Victini for 2 energy will get the vast majority of Pokemon V. With Pokemon V, there really isn't much of a difference between 220 and 240. There's a couple here and there that jump over, but they are few and far between, and generally don't see a huge amount of play. So, I don't see why I would play this over something like Victini. Sure, in a water deck it's fine, but you're talking 4 energy 240. Would you really rather have this over something like Inteleon? Now, I know Inteleon doesn't have the big numbers, but what Inteleon does have is spreading damage around and taking multiple KOs. Free energy, so less, 160 to the active, 60 to the bench. And Gyarados and Inteleon are both working 2-hit KOs on VMAXs. Sure, Gyarados can 1-hit KO Vs and Inteleon struggles, but the extra damage from Inteleon actually means that you'll often end up doing 60, then 160, and that's the KO anyway. So you end up essentially 1-hit KOing VMAXs, or at least doing 220 in 1 turn, and, you know, in 2 turns you'll KO 2 of them kind of thing. So I think there's stuff to like about Gyarados, and I don't think these attacks are bad. But I don't look at Gyarados V Max and find anything there I really want to hang my hat on. I don't think it's a bad card, but I don't know if I particularly think it's... Well, I do know. I don't think it's a particularly good card. I think it's just kind of meh. And that makes me a little bit sad. Gyarados is a very popular Pokemon. An awful lot of people are going to be very excited to see a new Gyarados V Max. And it's a kind of Pokemon you can build a little pet deck with and take it to League and have a jolly old time. But I don't expect to see Gyarados running around the top tables of tournaments anytime soon. Though, as always, love to be wrong. I'm going to go ahead and give it an ordinary, everyday, run-of-the-mill, garden variety, standard free Wassies. Not a bad card. But I look at this and I don't really see a particularly strong reason to play this over a whole bunch of other cards. But hey, maybe you disagree with me. Maybe you agree. Either way, I'd love to know. So let me know in the comment section, would ya? Go nuts! Be nice! And then make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at TheWassie, and Twitch for some live action at twitch.tv/PTCG Radio. If you want to support the channel, get some bonus podcasts and all that good stuff, head on over to patreon.com/PTCG Radio, where you can do exactly that. But by far the most important thing, as always, look after yourselves till next time, would ya? Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching PTCG Radio.